All right, welcome back. This is lesson 5, module 3. And on this section, we're going to talk more about getting unstuck. And believe me, it happens to all of us. And I'm starting with a sort of very sad photo here, but it happens. And when you're writing anything that you write, you come across times when you just get stuck and trying to figure out how to get back and being productive again. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that and give you some advice on how just to get unstuck from writing your learning narrative. First of all, always remember the detail. If you feel like you don't have enough information or you're just not providing all that detail, go back and look at those incidences, those reflections that you've written about, those times, those experiences, and ask those questions. Who was involved? What was involved? Where was it? Why were you doing this project or whatever you're describing? When was this? When did this happen? When did this happen in your overall learning experience? And how did it come by? How did it work? How did you receive this project? How did it end? All those are really important questions. And if you feel like you're getting stuck in something, that's always a good place to first start and answer some of those questions and make sure that's provided in that description. Another thing you can try to do is I remember when. This is always good to kind of start a sentence with. So say if you're going to be talking about some sort of description about something, let's say about HR and organizations and how you led an organization, and you're sort of stuck in trying to remember what you did, start the sentence with I remember when, and just describe that experience. And just start with that first few letters. That can be really important and really helpful, is just to start a sentence, I remember when. And it can be extremely, extremely helpful. So do think about that. Also, documents. We talked about that the last module quite a bit, and I'll stress it again. If you're feeling stuck, sometimes going back to documents that you have can be very helpful as a source of information and provide a little bit more detail of what you're trying to describe. Also go through some of the steps of learning. Go from the beginning and how you developed and think about that and develop those steps, writing out those steps of learning and how you got to the level of learning that you're trying to describe. So a step-by-step can be extremely important. And remember, overall, this is your story. I mean, you're not writing a textbook. You're trying to match something that, my requirement or the evaluator's, expectations. This is really about your story and matching your story with the syllabus. So, write it as a journal entry, and then it may have to be massaged a little bit more to fit with the learning narrative. But do remember, it is your story. You're the one with the knowledge. You're the one with the know-how. You can write this. You can describe what you're trying to do. I believe you can do it. And if you ever get stuck, you can always reach out to me and we can talk through it either by email, by phone, or we can meet in person. However you want to do that. But do remember that the learning narrative is about your story. It's not a textbook. It's about you. All right? So next week we'll have start writing your learning narrative, and we'll have a workshop on your learning narrative. You can write a draft. It can be just a few pages. If that's all you get done, that's fine, but try to turn something in so your classmates can look at it and review it and think through it. Once you start getting your learning narrative, it's all downhill from there. So, this is a good place to be in writing your learning narrative, and it's the most important part of the portfolio process. All right, good luck.